So Venom is a good movie to give a great example about. Just like the movie Gabriel. It's always two sides fighting each other in physical form just to get you confused. But really, did anybody ever think that in spirituality, Gabriel is Michael? That the good guy and the bad guy live in one and they're always making decisions, sometimes in power where they ruin their nations and make governments go to war. Sometimes it's just somebody denying somebody the love or respect and making families break apart. Venom is such a great movie because what I just caught was the same thing that I've been talking about. For one, a family tree, only one family out of everyone in the whole world, it was their God only, not everybody's God, which is the same God, no matter how many times you act racist or discriminating and say, my God is better than your God, when really you both are human. You both have life. You both come from earth. There's no way that anybody can tell me that their God is different from anyone else's God when you look at the fact that we are all the same and we're all put through evolution. From being a baby, from being a heartbeat, to growing the first arm, to actually, evolution creating you a full-grown human. From baby to older person, to elderly, to still wearing a diaper. Genesis, And when you look at Venom, the same way that I said that it couldn't always be one family. The father, was Voyager or, exiled, and then he made his way to the kingdom and showed that he was a prophet or, such a good advisor that he's always, putting it on his life or his God. And it's always the same seed. So therefore, how did you lose your power? How did your father, who was the Pharaoh's advisor and the next highest above to him, how did he lose his power and you're starting your new book? You get what I'm saying? These are just book stories, even though they're based off of Jesus. And I told you, Prometheus, he's a God that gave man fire. He is put the same way, like if you were on a cross, but on a rock with chains. And was he real? No. He was a verb that they made a noun, because I already said this in my other video. He is description of how somebody is like the early bird getting the worm with being that smart, with being a go-getter, faster. Too fast for the slow, too slow for the fast. You know what I mean? That's the type of thinking that you need to be. Are you inside the box or outside the box? Well, guess what? I am the box. I look inside and out, so you can't mess with me. Boom! So really, get your heads out of your butts, because I'm a person, I'm human, I'm equal, and I have every right to tell you this if I care about you. Get your heads out of your butts. Everybody needs to stop going to war, and the whole story about 12 disciples plus a sister, or Joseph, sister, and 11 brothers. Like, all of that is the same story reincarnated just to confuse you. I love that. I love that I just said that. It's the same story reincarnated. I mean, you're talking about Jesus and Jesus becoming Jesus Christ and Jesus being the Messiah. Well, guess what? I think the real Christ and the Messiah, as far as being evil, being the Antichrist, is all these reincarnated stories. The real Jesus never died. The real Jesus was on a cross. And when he graduated, before his eyes closed, he said, my task is done. That is a powerful witch like Gandalf. That is a lot like this guy. A great chief. Nazareth, universe. Nazareth, native lands. Nazareth, a place that they made fun of him because they didn't believe it exists. So when you're looking at the piano keys and you're looking at 8 being 1, and instead of it being quantum 9 and then graduating, they actually have it go up to 8, and 8 becomes 1. I already said a while ago on my TikToks, there used to be 12 planets. There used to be 12 moons. There used to be 13 planets. There used to be 13 moons. Amino 19, with everything being patterns, I guarantee you that in prophecies, there is either a constellation with 19 planets, or this used to have 19 planets. Everything is in a pattern of frequencies frequency patterns, and geometry and colors. That's what this universe is. You know, when you look at 2D, you'll look at the flat picture of something. When you look at 3D, you'll notice it has shape, like this cup. It's no longer paper flat of 2D. You know, drinking my cup. You actually can see it now. 3D, going to 4D, is literally this. And I showed you that on the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme called Time Cop. Everyone is out of nowhere, coming out of nowhere with all of these books. God gave you this book, isn't it? And the guy's all covered up. He don't want you to get any of his fingerprints. Not even if he touches a table. And boom, the camera can pick that up. You know what? The camera can pick up his fingerprint just by seeing his hand touch a cup? Yes. That's how big it is as far as them having technology they don't want us to know. When it comes to crops, all these crops are showing flying saucers, but these saucers fly like the new Air Force freaking jets. You know, everything that has been monitored, like, you know, just freaking customized hardcore is the stuff that we saw in movies like in the 70s and the 80s. Now today it's 2023, and everything we saw in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s is actually coming true. You know, Project Stargate, Project this, Project that. All of these are real, and they've been here for a long time. I forgot what else I was going to say, and it really bothers me. But, Venom. Back to the story about Venom. You could tell that the guy is like Muslim Christian or something, you know? And the fact is, he says Isaac, when he's talking about the homeless guy that's in the Venom movie, when he's about to unleash one of the Venoms to infect him inside of the containment lab, he tells him, Isaac, you know that that's a biblical name? He's like, yeah. And he says, well, I think it's all about you. He says something about that, like you're the one that gives up his son or whatever. It's like God gives up you or something. But in what my dad was taught, my dad, when I'm arguing with him, tell him God is real, he says Jesus is supposedly the son of Joseph. Well, there are two brothers named Joseph and Abraham. But in Venom, you'll see where they mess up, where the actor says, Abraham gave up his son to God. You know, that was a sacrifice. Boom. That gets to let you know that Arabic, Jewish, and Christian are trading back and forth the same stories. I want all of you to know that only one God in evolution is real. That is, in a sense, thought, like Prometheus, but not a verb. The noun. The noun is God, grace over dominion. The verb of his thought could be called Prometheus because it was in Greek days. Do you understand that? And as far as everybody trying to manipulate us, how dare them think that they could have that much power in the world and make us all broke and live in these tiny apartments. And while they have huge mansion casinos, not casinos, but mansions, huge castles. You know, this is where I'm trying to tell you, world, not just USA, not just Russia, not UK, but everybody, that the end is coming. And the end doesn't need to.